man-made disaster. The Red Cross has put it out there that it takes approximately 3 days to mobilize to get the necessary aid to those who stand in need. In continuation of our last episode, where we talked about how to better prepare yourself in the event of a man-made disaster that could potentially affect your area, we're going to be talking about 72-hour kits and how you can prepare yourself, your families, and your community by not only learning this knowledge, but sharing it with others. So that way, in the event of a disaster, man-made or natural, you can be prepared. So stay tuned. You're going to learn something. Let me start out by saying the purpose of this video isn't for me to show you all of my preps. I want to give you a basic understanding of what you should have in the event of one of these man-made or natural disasters occurs in your area, and some of the considerations that you should take when identifying what types of gear, what types of food, what types of preps that you should have in place for what may affect you directly in your area. So I'd like to start out by identifying numerous different types of natural disasters that affect us here in the United States. Earthquakes, wildfires, flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, mudslides, rock slides, avalanches, excessive snow build, blizzard, deep freeze, volcanoes, fog, black ice, heat waves, and tsunamis. Now, those probably aren't every single natural disaster that there is or could be, but those are what specifically come to mind. As far as man-made disasters, here are a list of different things that you should be prepared for in the event that it occurs in your area. Pandemic, famine, pestilence, active shooter, rioting, strikes, disease, looting, polluting, infrastructure, blackouts, terrorism, biological contamination, electromagnetic pulse, also referred to as an EMP, technological virus, and things that I've just listed have the potential to affect our day-to-day living. Now, when coming up with your preps or your kit for 72 hours of preparation, you need to make sure that it covers your everyday basic living needs and survival needs. Now, I did some research online and I was able to find a complete 72-hour checklist. Now, within the description box of this video, I'm going to put a link so that way you at home can print out your own copy, review for yourself, and start preparing your own 72-hour kit. I really wanted to hit home and focus on biocontamination because of our last episode. Apart from the regular 72-hour supplies, there are other precautions and things that we can take. One of those would be to bug out to an area or a location that's not affected by the biocontamination. Another would be bugging in, remaining isolated at home, away from individuals who are potentially affected. Now, if something were to become airborne and aerosol to where just being at home could affect us, even though we're not around other people, there are supplies, there are things out there available for you to purchase to protect not only yourself, but your family, your children, and even your pets. And that's one of our sponsors, Mira Safety. Now, at the tail end of the video last week, we talked about Mira Safety and all the great supplies that they have. But I encourage you to go to their website, check them out. They're a little on the higher price side of things, but when it comes to protecting yourself and assuring that your gear is quality, there's nobody in the business that will come close to Mira Safety. So if that's something that you're interested in and adding to your 72-hour kit, head to mirasafety.com and check them out. Unfortunately, you have people out there that are going to panic if they can't get a hold of the supplies that they need, and they're going to result to desperation mode and do whatever is necessary to obtain those. And that includes going into the store and buying up all the supplies, going up in the store and looting and stealing all the supplies, going to your house or your neighbor's house and stealing all your supplies. Any one of those things could potentially happen, and you should be prepared for it. So let's move on to the 72-hour kits and what items would be practical and necessary for you to survive and carry out your day-to-day life. Now, like I said, I have my checklist here that I'm going to be reviewing just to give you a basic idea of what you would need for yourself and or your family, neighbors, whoever you're planning on preparing for, or whatever you're planning to prepare for. But there's a couple considerations as you go through this thing. Air, water, food. Those are your three basic necessities for living. Rule of three. You can't go 3 minutes without oxygen. You can't go more than 3 days without water. You can't go more than 3 weeks without food. Now, one of the great things that I like about this list, now, not only does it come with a bullet point checklist of items that you can go through to see what it would be necessary for you, what wouldn't, but it also has on the second page a recommended daily caloric intake for children, females, and males. Now, that's important to consider when creating this kit and building the food supplies that you need, or understanding the food supplies that you need for that 72-hour period. When creating your food kit, you should store foods that don't have to be refrigerated and have a long-lasting shelf life. Now, for me and my family, we have opted to store food from one of my sponsors, and that is nutrientsurvival. Now, nutrientsurvival has a ton of different options for you for food, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Their food items come in individualized packets, just like these. So you can do one-person packets, or you can buy the larger canisters and portion everything out from there. But the foods are all freeze-dried. So you basically add water, or let's say you get the chocolate grain crunch This is cereal. You can eat it dry, or you can add some of their freeze-dried powdered milk with water. Tastes great, just like milk, and have yourself a bowl of cereal. Now, another thing that my family enjoys about nutrient survival is the fact that each food item has 40 essential nutrients. Now, I'm not sure if you read labels or if you even look at the nutritional facts of your food items, but if you go on the back of these bad boys, you can see just how many vitamins, minerals, nutrients, sugars, calories, so on and so forth are in each individual thing. They will meet your daily caloric intake and provide you a meal that will not only be delicious, but keep you satiated. All right, I don't want to beat a dead horse, so I won't talk about food anymore, but make sure that you have enough for each individual person you're planning on preparing for that 72-hour time period. Now, other considerations when it comes to food and water is drinks. Not everybody likes to just drink water. So also from Nutrient Survival, you can pick up some of their nutrient drink sampler packs. If you're just a flavor person, if you're a coffee person, if you're a health person and you really want to boost your immunity, or if you're a comfort person and you want something that's just going to taste great and feel good going down, they got something for you. Lemon lime drinks, vitamin coffee, immunity citrus orange drink, and they also have a hot drink, a spiced apple. All right, so check them out. They got options for you, nutrientsurvival.com. Now, when it comes to water, you shouldn't just store up water bottles. I mean, that could be the practical thing for you, but you should also have a means to provide for emergency water in the event that you quickly have to leave the area you're in and you can't take your full supplies of water bottles. Make sure you have something to be able to filter water from anywhere else that you go. Now, I have Life Straws, I have Sawyer Minis. I also have another sponsor, ETA, the filtration bottle that they provided for me. Go back an episode or a few and check out the ETA episode that I did, and it gives a full breakdown on the outstanding features of the filter. In the event of a nuclear disaster, a man-made nuclear disaster, this bad boy can filter nuclear contaminants through its ionic absorption filter. Outstanding. Yeah, you're also gonna want clean clothing. You're gonna need appropriate clothing for the season to be able to layer and unlayer, but you wanna be able to swap out your clothes as they become gritty, grimy, dirty, oily, so forth. Your skin needs to breathe too. You need to be sanitary and clean as well as just styling. So look into having the appropriate clothes for you and each member of your family. And that brings me to the next thing is in your 72-hour kits, you should also plan for toiletries. Now, you don't need to be one of those Costco Nazis that goes and buys every pallet of toilet paper in existence or in your sight range. It's not what we're talking about here. When it comes to toiletries, sure, if wiping your butt is your number one concern, by all means, stock up on toilet paper. But you should also stock up on some baby wipes, hand sanitizer, toothpaste, toothbrushes, soap. I mean, wash your butt, soap, washcloth, tissue for blowing your nose. If you have ladies with you and daughters, you may need feminine hygiene items, combs, brushes, lotions, chapstick, so on and so forth. And you don't want to go around smelling like Sasquatch. Make sure you got yourself some deodorant as well. Other emergency essential considerations we've talked about in an earlier episode with Reed, what items you can carry in a bug out bag, what items you can carry out in your backpacking bag. And we went through several different items in there. I encourage you to go check it out for survival item consideration. But on your checklist here, it talks about having first aid essentials, a shelter system, and a sleep system. Now, your sleep system could be anything from a couple blankets and something to create a barrier between you and the ground for insulation, or it could be a tent, a tarp, hammocks, just something to keep you out of the elements and cool or hot as needed. Flashlights and batteries. Yes. During a 72-hour situation, you may not have power. And in that event, you're going to need some sort of light system to be able to see where you're going and make your way around. So I encourage flashlights, batteries, external charging units that are charged up, ready to go. If you have a rechargeable flashlight, or your cell phone, if you're relying on that for light, you're going to need things of that nature. Extra batteries, lanterns, fire making materials. Now, our very first video for this channel was bushcraft fire building 101. Now, I strongly encourage you to have all the items and elements to be able to start a fire, whether it's in your backyard barbecue, fire pit, or if you need to bug out to some wilderness place, make a trash can fire, make a fire out in the sticks. Make sure you have the proper materials for that. Myself, personally, in addition to carrying waterproof matches, lighters, my ferro rod that doesn't go anywhere without me as part of my EDC, I encourage you to gather up some fat wood, either naturally or go to your Lowe's or grocery store or anywhere they sell barbecuing material and get yourself some of these fat wood fire starter sticks. Utilizing, as I've demonstrated in other videos, utilizing a tool in the back of your knife or saw, you can create shavings and start with all the elements that you need to create a fire. Now, this list goes on to talk about other emergency essentials, gloves, markers, cooking materials. It goes into greater detail with shelter, sanitation, cooking utensils, tools and supplies, pet supplies, just any and everything, as well as your EDC items. When it comes to all this stuff, make sure you have the basic things that you would carry with you every day, whether that be a pocket knife, your phone, your car keys, your wallet, your layered items of clothing, and your protection tool, whether that be a firearm, Kubaton, or so on and so forth. Make sure you have a means to protect yourself and your family and belongings as needed. There's a couple things that I want to talk about that I haven't perused the list in great detail, may or may not be in here, but one of those items that I will always have with me in my 72-hour kit in the event that I need to bug out is I'm going to have a map. Let's say the navigation system on my cell phone doesn't work and I don't know how to navigate myself around my area appropriately because I don't know what roads are closed, what back roads or secret dirt roads I can take. If I get myself a hard map, that will give me more options. That will give me the ability to traverse, trek, and go around any potential hazards and get to where I need to go in a safe and efficient and expeditious manner. I am also going to take with me books. Now, if I'm bugging out for a 72-hour situation, or I'm just at home, or what have you, I'm always going to have knowledge and information at my fingertips, so that way I can fall back if I'm second guessing myself on what I know, or to refresh my memory on certain skills that maybe I haven't practiced in a very long time. So I'm going to take all the different books that I rely upon to help me remember those things with me. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing. My number 1 and 2 books that I will always have with me is a copy of the Bible and my Boy Scout handbook from when I was a kid. Make sure that the food that you decide to gather and supply yourself is not just going to be food that's edible, it should also be food that you like. In the event you got kids with you that are picky and finicky and don't quite understand what's going on, it's be easier and one less headache to have food that you know that they're going to eat rather than struggle through. And the same thing, don't make a bad situation worse on yourself by having crappy food. Myself, I could potentially be content with a whole bunch of cups of noodles and some freeze-dried coffee, but I also like to enjoy the meals that I eat, so maybe being a little bit more diverse and getting myself some vitamin egg blend. I love eggs, and to snack on some of these special ops rocks. Tastes like chocolate M&Ms, right? Also some considerations for self-defense. Make sure whatever tool that you decide to implement as a method of self-defense, you are familiar with that tool, whether it be a firearm, a bat, some nunchucks, a sword, whatever you plan on using. Make sure you know how to use it, make sure you're trained to use it, make sure your family is familiar with it being in the home so that everyone is safe and knows how to use it in the event it needs to be used. If you are planning on potentially bugging out, make sure the items that you pack in your get home bag, your bug out bag, or whatever you want to call it, make sure those items are divided up into several different kits. So that way you're not digging around your bag in a manner to mess everything up, break something, destroy something, or just cause a complete mess. One example of that is I have my fire kit, I have my first aid kit, I have my drinking kit, all divided up into different things so I can get my life straw or my Sawyer kit, my purification tablets, my medical needs, all the elements of building a fire. I have them all right there, or my flashlight. Everything is at my fingertips in a nice, neat, secure, methodical way. Now, I don't recommend that you pack your 72-hour gear for personal carry in a backpack like this. Now, this is my work bag. I've got my grenade pins on it. I got my little tactical patches, my tactical gloves with the knuckle guards, and this shit stands out. I don't recommend you do this. I recommend you find yourself a nice plain colored drab JanSport maroon, blue, gray bag, Adidas bag. What do my kids carry? Vans, whatever. Just something that's not gonna really stand out as, oh, hey, that guy's prepared, let's go steal his shit. Tactical consideration. Don't use a tactical bag for your 72-hour kit. Unless we're at war, then be as tactical as you want. Another thing, I recommend that you all get yourself a shemagh. Now, I've done videos and little tip videos in the shorts on different ways that you can utilize a shemagh in an emergency situation for emergency medical purposes, as a clothing protection item for your head, your face, and your neck, and so forth. It's just a very versatile piece of clothing that has many, many uses. And one company that I have recently discovered that have taken me on and decided to give me a sponsorship is combatflipflops. I love everything that they stand for. They are a veteran-owned and operated company that work with individuals from war zones or impoverished zones to help provide those communities with a source and resource of income. Now, this shemagh was made in Afghanistan by those families that were afflicted by the war over there. Now, these were families that these war fighters from America became friends and almost family to, and helped take care of them while they were over there away from us, away from their families. So that's one cause I would love to support. Now, as I mentioned, their name is combatflipflops, right? Check these bad boys out. This is their flopperator, right? It's got the camo pattern, and it's got this nice, ginormous, thick sole, right? These were designed to basically mimic a combat boot with its thickness. So it's not only durable, but it's gonna last you. It's got comfort. It's got a cool looking style to it with a nice tread. Flip-flops are another great item to have in my 72-hour bag because I don't like having my feet stuffed up in socks and shoes all day anyways. I live in an area where it's permissible to be wearing flip-flops all day in dang near any season. And I also carry flip-flops with me anytime I go backpacking. So that way it gives my boots that I've been wearing most of the day an opportunity to air out, get all that moisture out of there. It allows my feet to dry out when, especially, I don't want to just sit there. I want to move around and I want to do things in camp or maybe hike around a little bit more. So it gives my boots an opportunity to dry. So flip-flops are a great thing. Combat flip-flops are awesome. They look awesome, and you can probably beat the crap out of people with them.
Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to defend yourself if your mom ever comes swinging at you with a sandal. This right here is my brother. He's going to be playing my mom. So let's say you did something wrong, right? And she swings at you. Pop! Now you have wrist control. What you want to do now is move the trajectory of the sandal away from your face and then pivot inward. From here, you can either break her arm. What I like to do is turn it around. Pop! Now she's disarmed and you have full control. Hey! Show me. Okay, guys, this is my actual mom. Let's do this one more time. So let's say she swings at you, right?
All right, that's going to conclude everything for this episode. I'm not going to beat a dead horse by just naming things off a checklist when you're going to have the opportunity to go into the description box where I'm going to drop the link. The name of the website is called A Mom's Take and has a lot of great information in there for you. But they have a PDF copy that you can download, you can print, you can have on hand, and you can go through with your family and start packing up your own 72-hour kits. Now, another quick tip I recommend, you can get yourself from Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Target, wherever you do your shopping, and get just big plastic tubs and start packing different items away. They don't have to be super expensive. They don't have to be cheap dollar store stuff either, but whatever works for you, your budget, your family, and whatever you would want in such a situation. Start packing those items up, storing them away, and make sure they're not items that you're going to need every day so you're not constantly going in that kit, pulling things out. You may want to go in the kit every so often, swap things out, especially those things that are perishable, or to make sure that things are working and running, such as flashlights, right? But with that said, you may also want to get a couple bags, and you can just pack the bags up in case you're one of the bug out people that wants to get away from where you're at, or it's more practical to do so. All right? If you like what you see, hit that like button. Please subscribe and stay tuned for all the great content that we have to come. And as always, stay safe, stay vigilant. Knowledge is your weapon.